Well, and I do think it's important, and this will lead into the rest of our stories, as I'm sort of jokingly calling this Data Week, even though the
Mhm.
two lead stories weren't really about data, but we have a whole bunch here to talk about. And I think this is something we've talked about for quite a while, and that is that the well, it's fun and sexy to talk about AI, that the real bread and butter of making AI work, particularly as you get closer to customer-driven experiences in anything that is using your proprietary data, is that data has to have its act together, so to speak, right? You have to have a good data architecture. You need to have data workflows. Um, you need to be able to count on that data, and so that's part of what the play here is about, doing the underpinnings, the unsexy stuff that enables the stuff that gets all the attention. And that's very similar actually to two investments that Snowflake made, or at least announced here last week. The first is in a company called Omni that they raised $69 million. Snowflake Ventures was one of the investors. And then also a company called Anomalo, which also took another round, uh, with Snowflake contributing to it as well. And both of these are various, they're forms of the same thing, right? Focused on data quality and data governance. And I think it again speaks to the importance of this space. And of course, it makes sense that Snowflake's investing in the space, but um, it is just it. I think it speaks to the fact that why there is so much energy in this particular sector, and that it's foundational, but it is a core building block to success with AI.
Right. And so I'll start with Omni. Omni is actually a business intelligence company. I remember back when we used to talk about BI as the exciting thing in IT, rather than
Was
something
was
that's,
BI ever really the exciting thing? I don't know, but okay, yes, go on.
come on, analytics, Moneyball. Everyone tried to make it a thing. But Omni focused on analytics and customer facing data products. So things that actually are not super exciting from an AI perspective, but Omni just happens to do it better than everyone else. And Snowflake has always been about making the data easier to use. That is the key of behind the numbers and the dollars. That's why Snowflake has succeeded, because they make it super easy to build a data warehouse. And now they are trying to figure out how do we make that super easy data that is grown to be more usable. And the Omni would be a fantastic way to do that. Perhaps Snowflake ends up purchasing Omni over time. But if you're trying to build apps and trying to build more things on top of your data, you're obviously going to work with some sort of platform that lets you do that. And I think that's the opportunity there. And the other thing about Omni is Omni's team, a lot of their team came from Looker, which was a company that was sold to Google for something like $2 billion, and has become the basis of Google's public-facing analytics, not the search analytics, but everything else they do from an enterprise analytics perspective is basically Looker. So they've got that DNA of understanding enterprise analytics.
And what's your take on the other investment?
Yeah, the other one, Anomalo is interesting for a slightly different reason, that they are a little bit closer to the AI side. They use machine learning and AI to detect data issues. So they are more deeply into the data quality and data governance pieces of the puzzle. And this is a relatively small investment, I would say, in that it's not $1 billion investment, and Anomaly doesn't need $1 billion to make monitoring and data quality headways. They just need enough to be able to improve their basically marketing, go to market approach, their sales, and to be able to take the next steps to link their data quality to agents and AI. And so they got representative amount to be able to take that direction. Anomal has been growing as a company, obviously, to justify this funding. And I think this is, again, another step by Snowflake, showing Snowflake Ventures, showing that it's important to be able to unlock the data at the end of the day, on average, companies that have data in place as a gold record still only have 60 to 70% of the data that is clean enough to be able to use on a production basis. And Snowflake knows that getting that final 30 to 40% ready for AI agents and other smart use cases is going to take some significant work, and the toolkit to get there still is not completely mature.